This is my friend Michael, and he's been one of my closest friends ever since first grade. There's a small chance that some of you might recognize or remember him or at least his name. That's because from 1st to 6th grade he went to schools in this very district, Rio Haas Elementary and Seal Middle School respectively. There's one issue, though. In March of 2019, he moved all the way to Massachusetts. We've been in close contact online almost every day since, conversating and playing games.
So bad.
But apart from seeing each other once in the summer of 2019 and another time in January 2023, we do not see each other in person, much less go to school with each other. That, however, changed one day in November of 2023 when he visited Texas for a week during a school break of his. Unfortunately, he was coming during a school week of ours, but as a joke, it was thrown around in our friend group that he should come to school with us for just one day. As we talked about it more and more, the more it seemed actually somewhat plausible, and as the day got closer, I began to communicate with the front office, my teachers, and school admins to see if it was possible. While I wasn't fully confident that we would get a yes, after talking with Miss Tran, we got the go-ahead. It would be a great opportunity for he and I to have one more day of school together, as we both graduate next year. We are both currently juniors, and also be a great chance to show an outside of the ins and outs of Weiss High School and how our classes work down here. After a few days together beforehand, on Wednesday of that week in November, we arrived at school in the morning. My audio-video teacher, Mr. Hodge, provided me with a camera and microphone for the day to follow him around, and Miss Tran took Michael in to do some background checks to make sure he wasn't a big bad guy. And a big thank you to her, as she was the one who went through all the processes and supervisions throughout the entirety of the day for this to be possible. This all happened on a B-day, in which my day starts off with Principles of Engineering. For most of the class, I just sat there stressing out as Michael remained in the office getting all his checks done. However, towards the end of class, Michael walked in and I was just so relieved. In the small amount of time we had left, I showed and explained to him what we were currently working on and what we had been working on in years past in engineering. At this point, we were working on a project where we had to design wind turbine blades made of paper that would then spin on a motor, and we had to measure different things going through the circuit that turn the motor, such as the voltage and the amps. After that, it was off to lunch, which he didn't get to eat by the way, haha, starve, and then to my second period of the day, Audio Video 2. Audio Video 2 is the class in which we work on Wolf TV, and coincidentally, Michael is in almost the exact same class back at his school at home, and they call it the transcript up there. We had pre-planned a skit that we would spend the class recording, and it was to be put at the start of the first episode. If you saw the first episode, you've seen that skit, and I will take responsibility as the person who wrote and edited it, and it looked a lot better on paper. It wasn't very good, in fact it was terrible, abysmal, whatever word you want to use, but now we know for the future. It was a fun class though, trying to get all the shots right and all the lines right, and seeing him talk with people who shared similar interests that he haven't even met before. My next class was Pre-Calculus, otherwise known by its straight name of Pre-Cal. Okay, geez, I'm sorry. Luckily, it was just a notes day, no tests, no quizzes, which made things a lot easier. And a special thank you to my friend Min for giving up his usual seat next to me for the day so Michael could sit there. Once we got through the notes, we worked a little bit on the homework and spent the rest of class talking about various different things like how his day had been going and how pre-cal compared to his math classes back home.
My school has a really bad math curriculum. It's really tough. I probably shouldn't disparage Northampton Public Schools.
The final class of the day was Money Matters, a class I never really intended to take. Audio Video 2 was originally 2 periods, but for juniors it got cut down to just 1 period after the first week of school, so I just ended up in Money Matters, and on most days, I'm able to get through the work really quickly and do notes for other classes with the remainder of my time. Unlike Pre-Cal, however, we had a test in Money Matters that day. Fortunately enough, I got through it before Michael arrived, so there were 0 issues, and I did get an A, so there's no worries about rushing there. I didn't specify this earlier, but Michael had to be escorted between classes by Miss Tran like a prisoner, which I thought was just really funny, and he was usually about 20 minutes late to each class, so have fun in detention, buddy. Because the test review we do for that class is made up of all the same questions as the actual test, I figured I'd test Michael and see if he was financially literate. I gave him the test review and told him to answer each question, and once he was finished, I would use a Quizlet with the answers on it to grade him. Once he finished and I graded, he ended up with 24 out of 35 questions correct, equivalent to about 68 or 69%. That wrapped up Money Matters for the day, and then it was time to go home. All in all, it was an amazing day that I never thought would be possible. Michael got to learn a few new things, meet some old friends, and experience one singular day as a Weiss High School student. It was an incredible experience that Michael and I will never forget. From Weiss High School, once again, I am Peyton Fish.